and the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
We want to thank you for tuning in to Young TV, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button right now if you're new to the channel. We got a series of tapes coming out for you, right? Dealing with the witchcraft thing. We see that a lot of people want to know how to reverse the spells. So in order to get into reversing the spells, we got to first put these tapes out. It's going to be this tape and 2 more other tapes. And then we'll get into the reversing of the spell tapes on the live side. So we want to get the people that don't know nothing about what's going on a rundown. Now we got several tapes that connect to this video in the links in the description. Like I say, just go to the descriptions. And you also can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook in the links in the description. Right? So we're about to get into it, man. So what we're going to be doing on the new style tapes is we're no longer going to be putting out the straight AI tapes unless we're doing like a movie or something like that. We always going to be doing the breakdowns on the tapes, doing the AIs within the live tapes, doing the breakdown, right? So it's going to be lit the new way we doing it. So hit like, hit that subscribe button, man. We about to get into it. For the people that don't know about the voodoo and the witchcraft, let's roll that first AI clip we got for you. It's about to get lit. Now, this is going to be breaking down pretty much the beginning of what you need to know. And we're going to start getting into it as the video go on. Peace.
So, how did wise women, revered healers and midwives, become the cackling witches of folklore, while wizards ended up with all the cool robes and pointy hats? Let's spin back to the very beginning. In ancient times, every village had a wise woman, or sometimes a priestess, who knew which plant soothed a fever and which charm might help a difficult birth. In places like Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, these women were respected. Folks turned to them for healing, midwifery, and spiritual guidance. Even myth gave us powerful women like Circe and Hecate, goddesses and enchantresses linked to nature and the divine feminine. But then religion shifted. The Bible has stories like the Witch of Endor. Yes, witches get a shout-out in 1 Samuel. But with verses like, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live in Exodus," you can see where things start to turn. When Christianity spread across Europe, anything that smelled like the old pagan ways got stamped out fast. Wise women and spiritual healers suddenly became heretics. And when society moved from female-led spiritual traditions to male-dominated systems, suspicion grew. tensions in tight-knit towns didn't help. If someone's cows died or bread spoiled, guess who got blamed? The so-called witch. Fear, jealousy, and misunderstanding led neighbors to turn on each other. And by the late Middle Ages, witch trials swept through Europe. People believed witches consorted with the devil himself, cementing the evil witch stereotype we know today. But here's the twist. While women were demonized, the idea of a wise man got a glow-up. Across ancient civilizations, there were priests, shamans, oracles, all wizards in their own way, guiding rituals, healing, and talking to spirits. The word wizard actually just meant wise person. In medieval times, these figures became a blend of philosopher, scholar, and magician. Merlin from Arthurian legend? He's the poster child. Wizards got labeled as keepers of secret knowledge, with big libraries, fancy robes, and magical relics. By the 1500s, wizard meant more than just smart. It meant powerful. Fast forward to modern fantasy, and literary icons like Gandalf and Dumbledore take center stage, wise, mysterious, and, let's be honest, looking great in those robes. Today, the story isn't over. Modern witches, especially in traditions like Wicca, have reclaimed the word, celebrating nature, knowledge, and spiritual empowerment. The witch is no longer just a villain. She's a healer, a guide, and a symbol of feminine power. So next time you see a witch on a broomstick or a wizard in a starry hat, remember, behind every stereotype is a story of wisdom, power, and society's shifting fears. And that is real magic.
So I'm pretty sure you know the storyline of the Spanish Inquisition and how they came around to monetize everything, and if they couldn't monetize it, they demonetized it, right? Or demonized it, right? And said it was from the devil. So when they began going out using the sanctums and the papist bulls to conquer people's land and colonize people's land, if they weren't Christians, then whatever their culture was, most likely in most situations was deemed devilishment or witchcraft, right? So you gotta go get that other tape we got in the descriptions called The Origin of Witchcraft, where we break down how it goes back to ancient Kemet dealing with alchemy, right? So we were alchemists before the colonizers, and the word witch, which comes from Wicca, is when we ready to break that down, right? Then come about to later, but you got wizard from wise man, from the magi, as in the magi priest, right? Going back to the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, who were wizards, wise men, wise guys, and then witch, right? And you also can get into witch as in witchcraft, because there's different types of craft. Cutting hair is a craft. Building a house is a craft, right? Plumbing is a craft. Electric work is a craft. Painting cars is a craft. Painting artwork and landscaping is a craft. So there's different types of craft, but they like to play these word games as in, witchcraft, so that they can demonetize it or demonetize it, because they can't monetize it. But if you're a good witch or a good wizard, they give you one of their titles, right? Like doctor, right? Like chemist, and or architect, right? Or engineer. They use these terms, and these are more safe terms for wizard and witches, or priest, or witch, minister. These are right, or chaplain. These are another words for wizard. So let's get into it.
The stuff that they are calling satanic and stuff is actually the stuff that they hid of your stuff that they don't want you to know. And we get deep into some things, I'll deal with that. But only thing I'm trying to say is, for stuff that seems spooky, we need to be adults at this particular time and quit being spooked out about the spiritual world when we know we got this beast in the physical world that you work with every damn day. And if you ain't scared of this cracker, how in the hell you gonna be scared of the spiritual world? You see what I'm saying? Vodun. Things like that, Yoruba, Vodun, all this stuff is nothing but the science of our science. The white boys know the stuff and all, and now they're spooking you out with the stuff. You see what I'm saying? Anything black magic, it literally means, magic means science, really. So if they say black magic, it means black science.
Baby, let me tell you something. Our people talked to spirits long before Bible ever hit African soil. Baby, our people didn't just pray. We worked the spirit. Ancestors, herbs, fire, divination. It was all magic we carried in our blood. Colonizers saw that power. They saw us healing, divining, calling on ancestors, and they panicked. Because you can't control a people who can summon their own protection. Our religion was full of magic, real magic. Ancestors, orishas, spirits, divination. That wasn't darkness. That was power. Colonizers saw that power and got scared. Not of demons, of us. They knew a black soul with its magic intact can't be conquered. That's why they called our practices evil, baby. Not because they were, but because they were ours. And they feared how strong we really are.
That goes back to like the Haitian Revolution when they used the voodoo on the French, and the French said, "Oh, they using voodoo." So they had to get rid of knowing a lot of this information because we was using it to fight against the colonizers, and it was working, right? So they had to demonetize it, right? And the ones that they could make money off of, because they still got the pharmacy, which means witchcraft. We're about to get into that, right? They still doing their witchcraft on us, right? Cocaine was a magic potion that was put onto us. We didn't do to come up with the formula. Ashtar Command passed it down to Hitler, and then Hitler passed it. It came on down like that. It was a formula. It was witchcraft. So they doing witchcraft on us, but they telling us, because all witchcraft ain't bad. Now keep it in mind, you got people who doing, it's based on intentions. All this stuff is based on intentions. Keep that in mind as we going on. When you're doing the work, it's based on intentions. What are your intentions? Is depends on the combat or and then when you're doing alchemy, if you're doing alchemy where you doing an attack mode, you got to have an exhaust method on that attack mode. It's a whole nother level to this science, right? The seal of Solomon you see in the background, right? Solomon was an alchemist, right? Who was really Ramesses II, with our ancestor Ramesses II, right? Ramesses, who had the most statues in ancient Kemet built, right? And he had 700 wives and etc. They stole that story and then changed his name to Solomon. And then accumulated another story about some of his story comes from Imhotep III, right? So keep in mind, wizardry is going on in the Bible, like we said, with Moses and Pharaoh's magicians, right? Where they we're dealing with the staff turned into a snake. So wizardry is going on all around you, whether you want to accept it or not. Now there are different types of wizards. We're about to get into that. We're about to get into the wizard world, because this really dealing with the wizard world and the world of witches, because there's a whole world going on that you don't see unless your eyes is open to it. And now what we're doing is opening your eyes to this world, right? So let's go into this AI breakdown of wizardry in the wizard world.
Long before witch appeared in English, ancient cultures had their own names for those with mysterious powers. In Rome, terms described anyone who caused harm, but soon became linked to curses and dark rituals. The healer, once respected, became feared as a poisoner. Romans drew a line between magic for guidance and magic for harm, but suspicion always lingered. The real fear was of those who misused their power, ancient suspicions laid the groundwork for the darker stereotypes to come. The English word witch comes from Old English, Wicca for men and wiki for women, referring to those who practiced magic and divination. Early witches were folk magicians, healers, and dream interpreters, not always seen as evil. The root suggests bending or shaping reality, hinting at their believed power. Over time, witch became associated with women, reflecting anxieties about female power. By the late Middle Ages, witch was a sinister label tied to heresy and fear. The journey of the word witch is a story of power, gender, and the suppression of ancient traditions. Before persecution, those we now call witches were often the most trusted members of their communities. They were healers, midwives, and keepers of herbal knowledge, relied upon for remedies and guidance. Their expertise in childbirth and healing gave them social significance, but also made them targets when things went wrong. These wise women and cunning folk were also storytellers and ritual specialists, helping people navigate life's uncertainties. Their magic was practical, blessing crops, finding lost objects, protecting livestock. They offered hope and a sense of control in a chaotic world. Their authority came from proven skill and deep community ties, not distant institutions. This independence and influence made them a threat to the rising power of the Church. As the Church sought control, these respected figures became vulnerable to suspicion and accusation. The transformation from healer to heretic was rooted in fear of their knowledge and autonomy. The spread of Christianity changed everything for magic practitioners. At first, the Church dismissed folk magic as superstition, focusing on converting pagans. But as time passed, theologians argued that any real magic must come from demons. Suddenly, the village healer's charm became a potential pact with Satan. Books like The Fueled Witch Hunting, claiming women were especially vulnerable to the devil. The Church reframed folk magic as heresy and devil worship, turning respected healers into cosmic enemies. The word witch lost all positive meaning, becoming a label for the ultimate threat to God and society. This new narrative justified widespread persecution and bloodshed. The demonized witch became a symbol of everything the Church sought to destroy. Not all magic users were called witches. Other words took different paths. Sorcerer comes from Latin, originally meaning a diviner, but later became a broader term for spellcasters. Wizard derives from wise, and was often a title of respect, associated with knowledge and learning. Think Merlin. Magician traces back to the ancient Persian magi, respected for their occult wisdom. These terms often implied scholarship or innate talent, not evil. Warlock, however, comes from Old English for oath-breaker or traitor, later linked to male witches who supposedly made pacts with the devil. Unlike the demonized witch, wizards and magicians were sometimes admired, while warlock became a term of ultimate betrayal. The language of magic reveals deep cultural divides between wisdom and suspicion, respect and fear. These distinctions shaped who was persecuted and who was celebrated in stories and legend. The words we use for magic users carry centuries of meaning, power, and prejudice. The burning times from the 15th to 18th centuries saw mass hysteria over witchcraft. Fueled by religious upheaval and legal texts like the tens of thousands, mostly women, were accused and executed. Trials were brutal, with confessions forced under torture and accusations spreading like wildfire. In Germany, entire villages were torn apart. In Spain and Italy, skepticism limited executions, but fear persisted. The most infamous witch hunt happened in Salem, Massachusetts, in 1692. A mix of religious extremism and social tension led to over 200 accusations and 20 executions. The trials collapsed when accusations targeted respected citizens, exposing the dangers of mass hysteria. Salem became a cautionary tale about intolerance and the weaponization of fear. The legacy of these witch hunts is a stark reminder of how easily suspicion can destroy lives. Witchcraft has always been a spectrum, healing on one end, harm on the other. White magic offered protection and remedies. Black magic, or maleficium, was blamed for misfortune and illness. Accusations often began with everyday disasters: a sick child, a failed crop, quickly turning suspicion toward a local witch. The Church erased the distinction between good and bad magic, declaring all unsanctioned magic demonic. Even healers and midwives became targets, their skills recast as evidence of a pact with the devil. Folk traditions that once brought comfort were now seen as crimes against God. This shift justified relentless persecution, leaving no room for nuance or benevolence. The meaning of witchcraft was transformed from practical skill to unforgivable heresy. The European witch is just one story. Many cultures have their own rich traditions of magic and healing. In West Africa, Yoruba and Vodou are complex religions, but colonizers dismissed them as witchcraft and suppressed them. The label became a tool for cultural domination, erasing the true social and spiritual roles of these practices. In the 20th century, Wicca emerged in England as a modern pagan religion inspired by ancient traditions, but not a direct continuation. Wiccans honour nature, celebrate seasonal festivals, and follow the Wiccan reader, "An it harm none, do what ye will." Modern witches reject the devil. He's a Christian figure, not part of their beliefs. Today, many reclaim witch as a symbol of empowerment, spiritual independence, and harmony with nature. The word is being redefined, shedding centuries of fear and reclaiming its roots in wisdom and healing. Today, witch is a word with many faces, still a villain in fairy tales, but also a symbol of power and resistance. The cackling hag endures in pop culture, but so does the wise, empowered witch of modern stories. Feminists have reclaimed the witch as an icon of female strength and defiance against oppression. Modern fiction, from Harry Potter to Sabrina, portrays witches as complex, heroic, and relatable. This new image strips away some of the old venom, turning the witch into a source of identity and inspiration. The journey of the witch is about power: who has it, who fears it, and who gets to define it. From healer to heretic to icon, the witch remains a figure who challenges the status quo. Whether feared or celebrated, the witch endures, provoking, inspiring, and refusing to be forgotten.
So you see the whole get down on the historical guise of the witches, but you see that the Europeans, the so-called white Europeans, picked it up as Wicca, and they still practice it, and they don't even believe in the devil. They don't even believe that the devil is connected with Christianity and other religious aspects. They had their own concept of the devil though in ancient Kemet, and other cultures have their own concept of the devil before the Bible. before all the other religious paradigms came about, right? So you got to keep that in mind. This is all based in perspective.
Baby, there's something your mama never told you. You come from a voodoo bloodline, and that ain't something you pray away. They lied to you about voodoo. They made it sound evil so you fear your own power. But our people practiced it long before we could speak English. Voodoo ain't dolls and curses, baby. It's spirit work. It's ancestors. It's calling things out the air and making happen. Your great-granddaddy, he could stop a fever with a bowl of water and a whispered prayer. You got some of that same fire in you. But they were terrified of our magic. That's why they banned drums, banned gatherings, banned every damn thing that kept us connected. What? If you want to know the truth, follow me, baby. Because I ain't done yet. This is just part one.
So, you know what I'm saying? They banned it. They banned familiar. They said that familiar spirits, which is ancestral work. That's what it is, because in Latin, la familia means the family, right? So, and you got to keep in mind when these guys came, the original text was in Latin, coming down from the Catholic versions, right? And so familiar spirits are ancestral, is ancestral worship, pretty much. That's what it is. And so they banned it. So in this next part, we're going to go into a little bit more into the wizard world. And this is a breakdown because they kind of gave you the breakdown on how the witch world work on Harry Potter with the full blood, half bloods, and this and that. And most of that applies to y'all. Some of y'all are full-blooded witches. Some of y'all are half-blood witches, and etc. Wizards, right? And we had different schools set up on the land to train certain types of wizards and witches. But John D. Rockefeller and the General Educational Board, 1903, I think it was, reformalized and structuralized our system to cut all this out and pretty much create a system of slaves, workers, non-thinkers. Because if you're doing alchemy and you a wizard or you a magi or you a wise guy, then you got to be doing some thinking. And so he couldn't have nobody doing no thinking. So they created the General Educational Board, all funded by the Rockefellers, to re-educate our people on the land out of this type of information to pay and make it spooky, make it demon and devilish. But like I say, it's two sides to this, because there are demons or Luciferians have infiltrated every organization. They have infiltrated the Christians, the Muslims, Jewish organizations, the Masons. The Luciferians have infiltrated everybody organization. So the Luciferians have infiltrated the Voodoos. So there's Luciferians doing voodoo as well. But what happens is with the good witches that forgot, they are left with a certain amount of spells that were given to them by the bad guys, and they don't use their original stuff because they were told that it's demonic. But the only thing that's demonic about it is your intentions. If your intentions is I'm gonna revenge and do this out of evil and spite, that is demonic energy. But if you're saying, oh, I'm gonna do this to help, or I'm gonna do this to your intentions, the spell based on your intentions is what this is all about. Now let's get into the different types. This breakdown is gonna get into the different types of witches and the witch world and how it works. Let's get into it.
Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the real meaning behind the word witch. Witches aren't just about wands and spells. They come from all backgrounds, shaped by heritage and culture. We'll start with the witches of Hogwarts, like Narcissa and Hermione, then journey to the spiritual figures of Turtle Island or North America. Magic is fluid, and so are people. Let's explore the diversity in magical traditions together. The pureblood witch, where magic is a family legacy. Think of the Malfoys or the Blacks, who see magic as a birthright and fiercely guard their lineage. Pride leads to prejudice, shaping their worldview and alliances. Purebloods value tradition, power, and exclusivity. Outsiders aren't welcome. Nothing matters more than keeping the bloodline pure. On the flip side, we have the Muggle-born witch, like Hermione Granger. Born to non-magical parents, their discovery of magic is a shock and a gift. They face prejudice but often excel, approaching magic with wonder and determination. Their success proves magic isn't about blood, but talent and heart. Half-blood witches, like Harry Potter, bridge magical and non-magical worlds. With mixed ancestry, they're the most common in the wizarding world, connecting both sides. Not burdened by pureblood prejudice or Muggle-born challenges, they thrive in both worlds. They embody the blending of old and new. Let's talk rare magic, the animagus. These witches and wizards can transform into animals at will, like Professor McGonagall. It's a difficult, dangerous skill, reflecting true nature. Animagi must register with the ministry, though some, like Sirius Black, stay secret. This power offers both freedom and risk, a hidden identity in plain sight. Few achieve it, but those who do are unforgettable. The metamorph magus is born able to change appearance at will. No spells or potions needed, just pure willpower. Tonks is a perfect example, shifting her look with her mood. It's a hereditary gift, deeply tied to emotion and identity, as rare as it is remarkable. The seer's gift is true prophecy, more than fortune-telling. Like Professor Trelawney, their visions shape destinies. Prophecies are cryptic, often causing what they predict. Seers are revered and feared, their words changing history. Their visions can haunt or save, an unpredictable, powerful magic. Some magic is silent, like legilimency and occlumency. Legilimens read and influence minds, while occlumens defend against intrusion. Voldemort and Snape are masters, waging invisible battles of will. It's not just mind reading, it's manipulation and protection at the highest level. Mastery requires discipline and emotional control. The Maledictus bears a blood curse, doomed to become a beast, like Nagini. Unlike Animagi, this transformation isn't a choice, but a tragic fate. The curse slowly erases humanity, leaving only the animal behind. It's a haunting reminder of magic's darker side. There's no cure, only inevitability. Let's journey to Turtle Island, where medicine women and men are healers and spiritual guides. Their power comes from deep connection to land, spirit, and tradition, not wands. They use herbs, songs, and ceremonies to heal and guide. Their role is sacred, rooted in balance and respect. It's lifelong service to their people. Their magic is woven into the natural world. In some indigenous traditions, the skinwalker or nagual is a figure of fear. Unlike healers, skinwalkers use shape-shifting for harm, often through dark acts. They transform into animals to deceive or curse, abusing sacred knowledge. The nagual, in Mesoamerican lore, can be a trickster or bringer of chaos. These figures are cautionary tales, power used for greed, not healing. They are the shadow to the medicine person's light. From Hogwarts to Turtle Island, witch is just the beginning of a vast story. Magic can be a gift, a curse, a tool for healing, or a weapon. Each type adds a unique thread to the tapestry of magic. Real-world traditions are as rich and sacred as any fiction. By learning about these paths, we celebrate magic's true diversity. Which type fascinates you most? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, stay magical.
So that was a little breakdown on the world of witches and how it's half blood, full blood. Then you also got dwarfs. You got dwarfs. Dwarfs got special powers. Little people, they got special magical power, right? So then you got the people like Hagrid, who was the big dude, the bohemian big dude. They are a different type of being on the land. We got beings like that on the land too. So you got Hagrid types, and Hagrid is a wizard too, but he a different type of wizard, right? He's a like a giant, right? Now let's get into more of this, man. It's about to get deep.
As a spiritual practitioner, there's a whole world that a lot of normal people know nothing about. An entire world where people go out and pay spiritual practitioners, voodoo practitioners, spellcasters to place witchcraft on people to get justice. They want justice for things that they have been wronged for. They want justice for mistreatment, for lies. People actually go out and pay spiritual practitioners, if they don't do the work themselves, to curse people. It's just a different type of experience being a spiritual practitioner. Sometimes I can just be around certain people and, a lot of people open up to me and they tell me things that are happening to them in their life. And I usually listen. And sometimes while I'm listening, I'm just like, dude, you really need a cleansing. You really need spiritual protection. I don't always say it because a lot of times people don't believe it. Average, normal, everyday people think the things that are happening to them are just coincidence. I'm going to give you a story. So I knew this girl and we had just met, and I worked with this girl. And she started opening up to me, telling me different things about her life and just venting to me. And one day, out of nowhere, she just broke down crying. And she said, I lost my daughter, and that was the hardest thing that ever happened to me. She would break down crying several times, about her daughter. No one knows how it feels to lose a child. So we would just be hanging out many times, and she would break down and start crying about her daughter. And I felt so sorry for that lady. And during the conversation, when she opened up to me, she told me she lost her daughter, and she lost her sister, and she lost her brother, and she lost her baby's daddy. And she had to take care of her mother because her mother was blind. And she didn't have anyone to keep her children. She had young teenage children. And I was just thinking, oh, that's just so sad. And all these things happened within close proximity to one another. Like within 2 years, all this happened. So of course she was just going through it. So I started to think, I told her, I said, after I listened to her, I said, sweetie, I think you need a cleansing. You need a cleansing. You need to make sure you're protected, your family's protected, because you've been through so much. And, I hate to say it, but, this sounds like work. It sounds like maybe someone is put work on you. This is a lot. Now, I'm not saying just because she went through something hard that it's always work, that somebody is always doing work to somebody. I'm not saying that. But I had a feeling in my gut that that's what it was. So she ended up losing the job. She ended up losing the job because she went to jail and got pulled over just randomly. Her car broke down. She was on the side of the road trying to fix her car, and the police stopped her and took her to jail. She ended up losing her job, and after that, she had eventually ended up getting another job in which she also lost. And so it's been many a times where I've told people, hey, you might need a cleansing. You might need to look into this spiritually just to see, trying to help them, to give them advice, because me being a spiritual practitioner, I can sense when things are off, when things like that are just not normal. But when people don't listen, and they know everything and they don't trust you, I stopped speaking about it because I don't have time. I have too many other things to do in my life than convince somebody that something more than just coincidence is going on. And yeah, there's a whole nother world out here. And it's not just, well, maybe it's coincidence. Maybe I just lost my job. Maybe I've just been dealing with this health struggle for like 5 or 6 years. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it'll go away. Maybe it's a reason why I can't keep a relationship. Maybe it's a reason why, I keep having bad luck. Maybe it's a reason why. Maybe it's coincidence. And maybe there's something going on spiritually that you need to fix. In my experience being a spiritual practitioner, I can tell you, a lot of times people they don't get cleansings. Just like we take care of every other aspect in our life, we go to the doctor, we get checkups, we try to eat right, we work out. I just came from the gym. You also have to take care of your spiritual life, of your spiritual body. You still have to take care of that part of yourself to remain balanced. And I just wanted to let you guys know that there's a whole nother world out here full of witchcraft, full of spells, full of curses, full of people that practice secretly, full of people that are normal, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, celebrities that go out and pay spiritual practitioners to ruin other people's life. And y'all might ask, well, how do you know so much about this? How do you know about all of this? Because I'm one of the people that receive the phone calls to take it off. I'm one of the people that people come to have the curse and the hex removed. I'm one of the people who can see it in the spirit. I'm one of the people that they contact to get help. That's how I know. I've had friends that have been going through it. I've known people that have been going through it for years. And I try to tell them, hey, you need a cleansing. You need to get some spiritual protection done. You need to get some work done. Oh, no, girl, it's okay. I think it's just a coincidence. It'll be fine. A year down the road, I see him again. Hey, girl, how you been doing? Still, oh, girl, I lost my job. My car broke down. I got health problems. I can't keep no money. I lost my man. I'm just looking like, okay. Sometimes it's more than just coincidence. Anyway, you guys stay blessed. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.
So keep in mind, like we said, there's people out here doing this stuff, and you thinking that it's just bad luck. And some people out here actually hate you, and they voodooists and doing voodoo on you. So you're gonna realize, like they said, the only way we're gonna lose is because we don't realize we wizards and witches, and we won't do nothing to fight back. So the bad witch is winning.
The weakness of all witchcraft is this. In order for witchcraft to work, it must use an element of the earth. Anytime a witchcraft ritual is done, it has to borrow fire, water, air, or earth to perform the craft. And this is where the power comes in. Any one of my children who knows how to speak to the earth can shut that witchcraft down instantly. It will zero out immediately because the earth recognizes its own and it will not fight its master. Then he said to me, top spiritual universe, once you understand how to speak to the earth, you will never fear witchcraft in your life again. Remember this, the moment you learn to command the earth, witchcraft loses all power over you.
You understand that we're dealing with the elements. We're dealing with earth. There are earth spells. There are water spells. There are fire spells. There are wind spells. There are love spells. Essentially the fifth element from some alchemist perspective. Now let's get into it.
Witches are actually real. Yes, you heard that right. Everyone knows that they existed in the past. But what if I told you they still exist today? A couple of days ago, a man named Jacob Smith decided to go on a mission to discover the truth about them. Jacob often heard his dog barking in the forest next to his house. so he decided to go and see what was really happening in the forest. Jacob had heard many stories about the Blair witches living in that wood, so he wanted to see if the stories were true. On August 7th, 2023, he decided to go camping in the forest and explore to see if there was anything strange happening in that wood. After the first day of camping, Jacob heard weird noises around him during the night. Jacob came out of his tent, but you won't believe what he saw. Jacob hid in a bush next to his tent and recorded what appeared to be 3 witches in the distance. The witches were making things levitate like a demonic ritual. Jacob ran back to his house and posted the videos online, but they were quickly taken down, and he was reported missing a day later. Subscribe and send to a friend for part 2 with the video.
I got this on the job with a cracker making it hard for you and all this kind of thing. Trying to get up in your face and want to make you get fired or whatever, want to make you resign. This is what you do. You get you this is coming from the Yoruba ritual. Now you're going to get you a brown bottle, either a beer bottle or a root beer bottle. You know the brown bottles. Beer bottle or root beer bottle. And you take it and you put you some coffee up in it, some liquid coffee. You say, I don't care whether freeze-dried or whatever, decaf or whatever, just put you some coffee up in there. Liquid coffee, pour it in the bottle. Then you get you a brown paper bag and you write that person's name who is giving you a hard time, or that person that you're trying to be protected from, or a couple of those people, you write them on that bag, or you write those people's name on the bag or that person's name on the bag, roll it up and put it in that bottle and put it on your doggone altar. You build an altar or you put it on your windowsill or whatever you do. Your dresser or whatever, and that person or whatever will not mess with you. And you need to start doing these particular things for protection.
My grandmother was a witch. She died in witchcraft, and she had a little cafe, a hole in the wall, and she would put dust over the door, so when people came in, the bell would ring, and dust would fall on it. They called it goofer dust. Well, right across the street was her competitor, and they would have goofer dust too. So she would go back and forth to down deep south, New Orleans, all that, deep, where you're from, and go get stronger and stronger for me. Dust. She came back and they said she was all twisted up with her head in between her legs, barking like a dog.
Wow. Ooh, that voodoo, that root, boy, I'm telling you,
yeah.
Coughing up frogs.
The women in the church went to go get my eventual godfather, which was William Griffith. He left 3 days. They fast and they pray, and then they come back and then they laid hands on her. They got her through it. And he says, daughter, the Lord told me to tell you that if you go back, you'll come back in a box. No, Rev. I promise I gave this up. And 2 weeks later, they brought her home in a box.
Witchcraft is literally in the church. The rituals they do is witchcraft. They just like to call it a different word. They'll say it's a ceremony. They'll say, we've been doing this, for this amount of time. It's still witchcraft, babe.
Give an example of what your mother would do, like in the church, but it would be a ceremony, but it would be witchcraft. Like, would they do it individually for a person or for the entire church?
Yeah, usually it would be individually. They'll come to her individually, but I cannot say what she did.
Oh, okay. So we can't cross those lines. See, that's what making me scared of y'all.
No. You don't know what the government's doing to you. You're not scared of them?
I guess I'm just one of those that just...
You don't think about it. They don't want you to think about it. I focus on not letting it affect me, and that's why I do my rituals. That's why I do my root work. That's why I listen to my frequencies. Otherwise, it will affect you sooner or later.
Like how?
Okay, so a lot of people don't notice that the choices that they're making are already made for them. Like I was saying with the subliminal messages, it's not really what you want, and that's why you're not really happy. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general.
No, I got you.
Okay. When you have an awakening, you start making choices that are literally from your soul. This is what was meant for you. Not what somebody told you should be doing. Not living how someone told you should live.
With that.
You know what I mean?
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And so that's what's happening to a lot of people. A lot of people that come to me, that's when they hit their awakening. They're like, I need something because I don't know what's going on in my life. They're in the pits of hell, with life. They have gone through being abused. One of my girls that just came to me, her ex-husband took her business, $1 million business, and has a little girlfriend. Her dad had just died, and he knew that and still did that to her. So she came to me in the depths of despair. And I did healing for her. I did protective for her kids, because she has 3 kids by him and he still left her with them. So I did a lot of root work for her business as well. She's starting a brand new one. She's doing amazing. She has a podcast coming out. Okay. I have literally completely changed her life. And she tells everybody about me because I'm like, no, we're going to fix this. As soon as she told me that, I said, I got you. I got you, we're gonna change this. And now she's living the dream.
Well, don't they call that like, couldn't a life coach do it?
I'm kind of like a life coach, yeah.
Okay.
I'm like a therapist, I'm a spiritual healer. I'm all of that all in one. I'm a friend. Like some people, they'll call me, like, I don't know what's going on. I feel this, I feel that. And I'll be like, okay, girl, what's going on? Like literally, I'm like their friend. I'm not just a spiritual worker. I'm not just a root worker. I'm more than that, way more than that.
It's a big one for me.
And then you can't say it like that.
How big is the shower? Damn! Inspired by God.
Witches were bad.
Yeah, that's what they teach you, yeah. So you don't tap into your power. Why would I tell you that I'm doing a spell on you? I'm going to tell you that spells are bad so that I can do it on you.
Like how? Explain that. Who is who?
The government. Witchcraft is bad, witchcraft is this, but they're doing witchcraft on you.
The government's doing witchcraft on people?
Yeah.
The dollar isn't just currency, it's a spellcraft. Every time you stress over money, you're feeding the spell with emotion.
You look at the dollar, first of all, it's a dead president. It's an ancestor. When you look at the different pyramids and certain like lines and how they print their money, it's all a spell. It's all a ritual.
But repetition with belief equals ritual, and rituals shape your subconscious. You've been doing rituals daily and don't even know it.
Right? So every time you touch money, even psychologically, when you're thinking about money, it is all outlined to you. Everything you watch is subliminal when you think about it.
Subliminal doesn't mean hidden. It means it bypasses your conscious filter and goes straight into your subconscious mind. The mind processes 95% of the info unconsciously. So when you watch content full of sex, fear, envy, or violence, it programs how you feel and behave, even if you think you're just watching.
Your music is subliminal. You know, the 808s, all the beats, everything. They are 100% controlling us. Yes. So if you know that you're being controlled, now you can't be controlled anymore. But if you don't know, they can continue to control you, and that's what's happening to everyone. That's why you get a certain feeling when you listen to certain music. It's frequencies.
808s and mainstream music are powerful root chakra activators. That's why trap music feels so heavy. It's designed to keep you locked in base desires. Money, sex, fear, survival.
When you're like, why would they put this out? Everything behind that is strategic. They're not just putting it out to put it out there. When people think of success, they say, okay, I need to go out, I need to buy a mansion, I need to buy a Maybach, I need to do this, I need to do that.
This is material programming. The matrix runs on external validation. They set the standards so high and flashy, you sacrifice your soul chasing the image. But ancient wisdom says, true gold is inner alchemy. Master your mind and you master your world.
That is not really what they want. That's what they're being told they want. So they will really be a slave, like going to work 9 to 5, doing this, doing that, not saying nothing wrong with 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
What I mean is, if that is not your gift, that is not your calling, you're just doing it to get what looks like success, you are being manipulated. It is literally all in our minds. It's being subliminally taught to us. But when you have an awakening, you start making choices that are literally from your soul.
My grandma was a Christian preacher, gang, right? But she was a different kind of Christian preacher because she also did voodoo. My grandma was a witch. Right? And when I was coming up, I saw her use the sage and use everything, but she hid it from her church. But we had the most wealthiest church. And my grandma looked at me one day and said, you gonna talk to God. And she kicked me out. And I've been on the streets ever since. Because like, it fucked her up that a real street nigga, a real gangster, and she knew I was killing in, was gonna talk to God. Gang, she sent me straight to a witch. That was my grandma.
He only fears your occult sciences, which is your spiritual shit. You see? He encouraged the revolutionary path. Now, I'm not saying, like I said before, not to have, guns and no grenades with the cracker bust up in your shit. You got to get him off your ass, get him off your ass. I'm not saying that. That's common sense. And if it's some nigga bust up in your shit, I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to tell you, when we're looking at the totality of it all, what I'm trying to tell you is this. The stuff that they left behind and the stuff that he feels is your advanced metaphysical occult sciences. He encourages the other stuff because he can feed that and he can manipulate that because he knows that you ain't going to unify in the physical at all. Let's face this thing. But he knows that the spiritual overrides all the bullshit that we do in the jealousy and the pettiness. So he can deal with the organizational thing because he understands that hell, he runs this world on this realm. Now, dealing with that, that means take him out. But we even talk about using it on an advanced level now, even in the ritual thing. You know, which I'll get into in a few minutes.
So I let him train me. He explained to me that since I was a male Collins, I was in the Collins family, that I had a position to take. And that there was a board of directors called the Grand Druid Council, which contained 13 of the most powerful witches in the world. And that my place was on that council. And I said, oh, you know, great. When do I take it? And he said, well, somebody just died. I kind of always wondered if he died or they shot him or something. You never can tell in the Illuminati. But he sent me to Los Angeles. I studied for 6 more months with my foster mother, holding kind of a temporary rank on this council, and then taking up to Colorado Springs and initiated. And I do believe
I got this on the job with a cracker making it hard for you.
So I let him train me. He explained to me that since I was a male Collins, I was in the Collins family, that I had a position to take. And that there was a board of directors called the Grand Druid Council, which contained 13 of the most powerful witches in the world. And that my place was on that council. And I said, oh, you know, great. When do I take it? And he said, well, somebody just died. I kind of always wondered if he died or they shot him or something. You never can tell in the Illuminati. But he sent me to Los Angeles. I studied for 6 more months with my foster mother, holding kind of a temporary rank on this council, and then taking up to Colorado Springs and initiated. And I do believe that when I testified here at the last time, I explained who the person was that handed me the ceremonial knife for that ceremony. Another senator named George McGovern. You might before the knife. When I was 14, and some of you might consider that a very early age, but it wasn't. It was kind of a late age for this. I was initiated into organized witchcraft. In other words, I was made what Brother Rasmussen is. I was made a pastor.
So another thing I want to point out right here is that your witch powers and activation skills usually activate around 13, although there are some cases where witches activate earlier. But usually they like to get these people like that. That was John Todd who said that he got adopted into the witchcraft and the cult. So what they did is took all of our information and went underground and kept it secret, and they use it against us every day in the TV, media. I mean, you name it, in our food, everything, crack, cocaine, all the drugs, all the liquors, the whole nine, religion. They're still using our stuff against us, but they tell us it's evil, and then they use it against us. What better move? What better move? If they came to attack us, we using this stuff they don't know nothing about. Is we beating the crap out of them, then they tell us, oh, look, show us, we show them, then they demonize it, and then say that it's the devil, and then they use it secretly against us. This is what's been happening, man. I'm telling you.
The wickedness of all witchcraft is that in order to do witchcraft, you are going to have to use an element of the earth in the craft. Anytime you use an element of the earth, any one of my children who can speak to the earth can shut down the witchcraft. It will zero out immediately because it has to borrow an element of the earth in order for the witchcraft to be performed. He said to me, Francis, the reason I told you that once you understand how to speak to the earth, you never be afraid of witchcraft in your life.
Demons arrest people. Angels arrest demons.
Yes. Demons arrest people. So if I go out and commit a crime, for example, if I go out there and fornicate, then I give a spirit a legal right to me. It can get a legal right to me. And so it can bind me, which means it can limit me. It can place something over me. And the angels assigned to me can't do anything because of the legality.
Because the legal right.
The legal right. They have to obey the legal right. If I repent and I give myself wholly over to God and I go through deliverance, then when I start to bind, the angels go and bind the demons. Then they get the right. This is what the Bible talking about, shaming the angel. But it can get the legal right to arrest. So what the spirit of Jezebel does is the spirit of Jezebel, it goes through our families. It goes through our regions. It goes through our organizations. And it looks for those who show signs or symptoms of being prophets and prophetic people.
So it's after the prophet.
It's after the prophet. It's going to come out the end.
So essentially, like I said, there's a spirit side to this. And we're probably gonna be doing a whole nother tape breaking down the spirit side to the voodoo, right? It's spiritual work. Well, these some witches performing a ritual right here, letting you know witches is real, witchcraft is real. Okay.
Tell me why I had no idea that my grandma and her best friend, Miss Judy, were the Appalachian granny witches. Had no idea till I saw a video about somebody talking the fire out of someone. And I'm like, bro, both of them could do that. And the crazy thing is, my grandma, because she ended up going on those high blood pressure pills, so I think that she was feeling her mortality, and she taught me how to do it, but I didn't remember it. And then at her like funeral thing, like me and Miss Judy went away to her house like by ourselves, and I was like crying because I'm like, damn, like I don't remember the burn thing that she taught me. I don't remember it. And Miss Judy was like, I know it, and I knew she knew it because I heard people at a party talk about when Judy talked the fire off of somebody because Bob was there. And so Bob was basically backing her up, being like, no, like this shit fucking happened. And so here's the interesting thing. Told my aunt and my mom that my grandma taught me it first and then Miss Judy taught me it, and they were both like, no, we know that grandma didn't teach you because she said she could only teach it to a boy and that she learned from a boy, so a boy has to teach a woman, blah blah blah. Basically, I saw in the comment section where people were saying that, so that's fucking true. And I don't know if she taught me like Miss Judy's version or if she really told me the one she was supposed to tell a boy, but I don't remember it anyway, so obviously forbidden knowledge there. But it's fucking wild because I thought that was like an interesting like thing that like no one else could do, because my grandma also talks, or she used to talk ghosts off of people, or like I remember one story where she did it. I don't know if she did it on a consistent basis, but when she did it to the Vietnam vet, that's when the thing attached to her and she felt it peel off her back and her dog chased it out the fucking window. But talking the fire out of someone, that shit's fucking wild. And the interesting thing, it's rooted in Christianity.
Hey, she's right, because my granddaddy, like I was telling y'all on them other tapes, know how to talk the ghost off of people. Or what she mean is the demons that possess people and take over their body. Is casting off demons. So casting off demons is witchcraft. But if you are a divine being like Jesus, you know what I'm saying, it ain't no bad thing if you casting demons. But if you casting demons off people and you ain't down with Jesus, you a bad guy, right? See what I'm saying? That's how they spinning it.
Now, I got this book. There's a movie you need to go see because it's connected. The movie is connected with this skeleton key. Anybody saw the skeleton key?
In Terrebonne Parish and the surrounding bayous of Louisiana.
Skeleton key. It's connected. It's all about the voodoo, Louisiana, voodoo, the whole 9 yards. And one of the keys here is a book called Voodoo Mysteries. And it says, and Voodoo Mystery, Inside Secrets of Louisiana Voodoo. And all of a sudden, by Ray Marlborough. And all of a sudden now, this book is hard to find, yet, but I bought the book in July. And now all of a sudden now, you can get them on the internet, you can get them from certain places, and you can still get it. But they froze this book as far as you looked at putting it on the shelf. I bought it at Ordered Books in July, and then all of a sudden it's 30 and all of a sudden this book is disappeared.
So my great-great-grandmother was a medium tarot reader in the Dominican Republic, and she told Rafael Trujillo that he was going to die because she had predicted it and seen it. And he didn't believe her, but he still died. He would go to her to get his cards read, and she told him his fate. And this is my grandfather. You can actually see the resemblance.
And the reason why I'm showing these couple tapes is to show you that people have ancestry. Their grandmother, their grandfather were wizards and warlocks, and actually made some attempts to try to pass it down to them. But in certain cases, they got to see it in you or see that energy in you and know that the gene, the wizard gene or wizard gene passed down to you. It's different levels to this, right?
I couldn't sleep. Without Jesus, we can't make it. With Jesus, there we will make it. When I dream different things, I tell Mama the next day. She'd laugh at me. I was 14 years old. I didn't have no experience. The old lady called Miss Emma. She said she's gonna be a treater. Mama said, "Oh, there's no such thing out of her. She's too bad." Miss Emma told her, "Don't fuss at that child no more. Don't tell her nothing no more. She's gonna be a treater like me." Be adopted for me. Bless the Lord Jesus Christ. Bless him. Without Jesus, we can't make it. With Jesus, there we will make it.
I had told her that I didn't sleep at night. She said, "You're gonna sleep. And I can go home right now and go to bed and go to sleep."
You got to be born for you to be a treater. God, you're born with that.
And a treater is the same thing, kind of like what the other girl was explaining when she said her grandmother cast the spirits off. Jesus was a treater, or Yahshua, according to the Bible. I know people don't like the name Jesus. Oh, we got to get rid of the name Jesus. This and that, right? But yeah, treater, right? So they the ones that do get the spirits or the voodoo off a person. My granddaddy did this, like I explained, right?
Are indoctrinated through the Board of Education into teaching little ones witchcraft. Now, again, they're innocent. They don't know any better, but we must break this down because it's the days of revelation. It's time to do that. So what is the symbol of the Board of Education? Well, it's a tree. What tree is that? It's the tree of knowledge. Okay? So we're talking about a public school system that was admittedly created by the Masons, a secret society that unapologetically admits to looking at Lucifer as God and the God of the Bible as being an unjust and angry and unfair, unjust prude of a God. Okay, and that's what they teach you, and that's why you get Luciferianism running rampant throughout Hollywood and the music business. Okay, so when you're young and you do well at spelling, you may be asked to compete in the spelling bee. Now, it's interesting, the spelling bee. Why is it called a spelling bee? Why not a spelling ant? Well, a bee. The B, the letter B, is a big deal in Masonic symbolism because it represents the 13. And 13 is nothing but, we don't have fear of any numbers or letters, but we're going to break down what those who put magical connotations to these things, we're going to break down what they believe and what they intend. And of course, once you know someone's intent and what they're really up to, it's hard for them to accomplish it, right? Especially if they need your ignorance in order to do so.
This lady conjured up my dead mama, and she was the lady of the church.
Today I'm going to tell you the story of a witch named Harriet Boggs. So it's the 1900s, and her story takes us back to the small town of Whispering.
A boohag is a type of haint from the lore of the...
Today I'm going to tell you the story of
A boohag is a type of haint from the lore of the Gullah Geechee people. Boohag lore varies from region to region, but in my favorite version, the boohag is a witch that can slip off her skin. She then flies out at night and slips into the home of unfaithful men, and men that have engaged in extracurricular activities with ladies of the night. The boohag then commences to ride those young men, feeding on their life essence. Now, in the past, I've talked about how you can defend yourself from a boohag or a haint by hanging a broom, because the boohag, being a haint, can't help but count the bristles in the broom until the sun comes up, destroying it. But another way you can destroy a boohag is by finding its skin and filling it with salt and pepper, preventing the boohag from re-entering the skin before the sun comes up, which will destroy it.
Name some celebrity witches that you know of.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Well, you said Beyonce. Okay.
We know about Beyonce. We know about Summer Walker.
Okay, what about Erykah Badu?
Kehlani. We know Erykah Badu.
Okay, who else?
We know Princess Nokia. So we know the ones that are out, but I would not out nobody. A lot of the reality stars are into it. A lot of them come to me. They pay. And my biggest of all time are NBA stars because they pay.
Really?
And they fly me out to do work in person. They don't even want me to do it at my house. Yeah, come to me.
They want to see you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, big bucks. Yes, because I'm getting them championship rings. I'm getting them movie roles. You know, that's why they're paying me $10K, $15K. But you are not getting movie roles. So $200, $300 is fine.
What's the most extreme? What's the most extreme thing?
I can't share.
That you know that's been done with other.
Well, you've seen the sacrificial parts. So, you know, when family members are dying and stuff, and it's like, oh, did they sacrifice? Oh, absolutely.
The highest witches in the world are the witches who can accommodate church pews. No, you don't understand. I'm talking about the witches that can say the name of Jesus, run around the room, turn around,
Preachers,
touch the ground,
ministers,
slap their neighbor, high
pastors,
five, and tell
bishops.
them you're next in line. I'm talking about the
Most powerful witches in Africa. Babames. Tap wizards. Batutinas. The matriarchs. Bin Laos.
Been in rooms at the top of the top, which albums are prayed over demonically.
I was the manager of Zodiac Productions, which Zodiac Productions, name's been changed since then, I'm not even sure what to call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It's one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. One of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. I saw David the day before Christmas, got him away from this witch that he had with him. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, now I have to explain some of this when I'm done, because you're not going to understand it all unless you know something about music. I said, did they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, did they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He said, come on, Lance, you know what the reason is. I said, please, David, I don't want to guess. Tell me what the main reason is. He said, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. Master is a tape about the thing at the top of the podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on. It's placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master's cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive office. And it's placed on an altar sitting in the north of the room and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power-up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. That's too hard for you to believe? I'm sorry. That's why they do it.
Music is prayed over demonically.
I don't know much about witchcraft.
You don't want to.
What is it?
There are black witches and white witches, that there are witches that do good. Witchcraft is still witchcraft. It's the use of the elements, and there's alchemy, there's wizardry, sorcery, electricity, magic, use of blood, use of spit, use of sperm. I did it 2 times. Both of them worked, and then I went,
are you serious?
This is bigger than I am. That really fucked my life up, and it took years for us to get out of it.
What were your hexes?
One was something that had to do with the guy that actually punched me. What happened was, we went to school that day. The guy walked up to me and just slugged me. The second bus shows up and we get in the bus and we take off. He's coming up to his house and he walks through the walkway in the bus and elbows me in the back of the head as he's getting out. And I was trying to fit in, so I had a mouthful of Red Man. And when he hit me, I went, and I swallowed that shit. That's it. I'm going to do something about this. So I looked through the book and I found something that would do what I wanted. I did that hex.
What did you want to happen?
I really don't want to get into it because I don't want anybody to be misled and try and figure out what I did. When you open up the doors to the dark, they're not going to wait to be invited in. They're coming.
Do you think you were possessed?
Oh, I know it was. When we went to San Francisco to go see the Filipino priest, he said that he laid hands on me and the head of a bull came out of my chest.
So these girls went into a thrift store and they saw this Bible, and apparently they didn't even charge them for the Bible. The Bible was free. You know, at a thrift store, things will cost like $1, $3. This Bible was free, and they took this Bible, and when they opened the Bible, so they open the Bible and they see that the words are upside down. Like the Bible is upright, but the titles are upside down. And I've never seen a Bible like that. Y'all can let me know if y'all have seen a Bible like that. But the words are upside down. Then to make matters worse, they put the Bible on their dashboard and they were about to leave, and you will not believe what happened. The alternator just blew out, just big boom, and then it just started leaking. Car just breaks. So I say this to say that when you are buying objects, I don't care what it is, from a thrift shop, from any type of store, from any place, and it's been used by someone else, you probably need to use your discernment and pray over those things before you bring it into your spaces, your car, your house.
See, a lot of the magic stuff don't work. That's why they putting all this shit in. You can go to a regular bookstore and buy all that magic. It don't work now because the cycle, a lot of stuff was for another cycle. That cycle has changed now. Now, the magic is supposed to be mental power, where you're supposed to not do a practical application, but you're supposed to will this shit in the mind. So they putting out all of this type of stuff. So when you go by, you be doing these little rituals and shit, and you ain't getting nothing. The key is just to study this to get a affirmation of what your own powers are. So it's like a case study. So you can look at the text and actually see the power in it. So it's more of a study than it is a practical application. That's why they started letting all that shit out. Don't let them fool you. If this shit was dangerous, the white ball wouldn't let it out. You understand? So the key is to get it into the subconscious, other than the technique. So, in the book, I want to read it to you. This book here deals with the subconscious. On page 2, Philip Cooper's book, Magic, A Study in Effective Magic. So you can also use this in the subconscious just for, not just magic as far as trying to blow up something, just for shit that you want to deal with and put energy to it, just whether you're on the job or whatever. Somebody with you, or you want to get another promotion. This magic is supposed to be used for everyday life on that level. So therefore, you use it and you will it, and they got to give it to you. You understand what I'm saying? So he goes into the science and he said, well, let me give you a few exercises at the end just to build a psychic laboratory. So he's not necessarily saying you get into all the ritual and all that stuff. He's saying, we just give you these exercises so you can know the power of your own mind. But it says, page 2, the subconscious mind is a powerhouse, which is inside of you. Anytime you enter subconscious, that means melanin.
I want to give you some information about the elements. I did this little, Spirit just kind of gave this to me, and I want to explain how this energies work. You see, the energies work through the elements. We have first the water, and what we have to do is conquer or master the water level, which is our emotional level, okay? And that's also at a higher vibration. We're talking about the soul level, okay? And then the next level we have to conquer, which is demonstrated right here. That's the water. This is demonstrated right here is the water. As above, so below. This is representing the below, and this is the above, and how energy unfolds or manifests itself. And this is the water that we're looking at, which comes from the water here in this part of the pyramid. The next level that we have to conquer is the air, which is the mental level. We have to master that. And the mental level is where we get in touch with the spirit. Okay, at the higher level, it's the spiritual level, where we deal with our spirit energy. Okay, and then the third level we conquer is the fire. And that's what I'm trying to get to now, is the fire energy. Now, fire energy deals with our passions, and it deals with the divinity level. This is where we access our magic at. This is where we access our power at, in the fire energy, you see. And then the final level we deal with will be the earth level. And see, we've got it backwards. We're living the earth or material level, and then we're trying to force spirit to deal on our level with us. So we have to turn it around now, and like I said, conquer the water, conquer the air, and then conquer the fire. And then after you've conquered those 3 levels, then is when it makes the physical manifestation in the earth level, you see. And when we're dealing with the water, we're dealing with our emotions. When we're dealing with the air, We're dealing with how we think, our peace of mind. When we're dealing with the fire, like I said, we're dealing with our passions. And then when we're dealing with the earth level, there has to be value, okay? And when you put all that together, that's when you manifest your power. That's when the magic comes through. But it has to be an action of integrity. Has to be an action with character in order to manifest in that physical reality, you see.
Nevertheless, the word pharmakeia is translated as sorceries.
Pharmakeia is where we get our English word pharmacy. Pharmacy is a well-organized and professionalized system that administers poisonous drugs.
Sorceries. Now, from a biblical perspective, what is sorcery? Sorcery is where you are using any form of manipulation, magic.
The Greek word pharmakeia is used in Galatians 5:19. The Greek dictionary defines it as witchcraft, magic, the use of spells and potions of magic, often involving drugs, a magic spell. It is a fact that witchcraft and magic in the Greek world often involved the use of drugs either by the witch or the one on whom the magic is worked.
Don't judge me, I'm cold. Anyway, witchcraft is nothing but communication with the ethers and the elements, right? It's pretty much just a fancy way of saying I do magic. Witches is for women, warlocks are for men. I know how to communicate with the earth elementals or the earth spirits. I know how to communicate with the water spirits. I know how to communicate with the air elementals, and etc., etc., etc. I know how to communicate with other magicians and other domains of energy that get things done in a way that human effort doesn't necessarily have to move. So I can combine certain forces from earth or air, aka herbs and prayer, and create a physical manifestation in this world, a physical change in this world. That is witchcraft. In short, it is just you communicating to another set of entities or beings or energies to create a change in your world. It's simple. It's almost like prayer. We pray all the time. We pray to God. God helps and creates change. So that's pretty much all it is. Until then, take care of yourself.
This lady conjured up my dead mama, and she was the lady of the church, dog. So my mama died a few years ago, dog, but anybody that know me, they know that out of all of her children, I am the hardest. That's nothing to brag about. There is no brownie points for being a hard black man, because Lord knows there are so many of us. So she kept reaching out, talking to me about healing and you know, getting that grief up off of me. I told her my mama is dead. She is gone. It don't matter how much I pray or how much I cry, she not coming back. I'm gonna get through it. I'll be okay. She insisted that we pray together. So I said, all right, whatever, we can pray. So we get on the phone. I tell her, like, you know, we can just pray. It ain't gotta be nothing too crazy. I don't want nobody laying hands on me, none of that. And she's like, okay, cool. We'll just pray. It won't take long. I say, okay, go ahead and do what you do. This lady gets quiet, dog. She inhales and she exhales. She says a small prayer, and then it gets quiet, and I feel the energy shift. After I felt that energy shift, dog, I heard my mother's voice. And she was crying and screaming and telling me all the stuff that only she knew. And I'm on the opposite end of the phone, bro, just staring at the phone like, bro, what is this? This is not gonna help me heal. If anything, this is more traumatizing than it is healing. I went along with it, man, and she kind of closed it out, and then she was like, now doesn't that feel better? You got to talk to her. And I'm on the phone, and I'm just like, yeah, is that it? You know, thank you, yada, yada, yada. Hung up the phone, man. Mind you, before all this happened, dog, I had a feeling that something was going on, because that week I had been having dreams of me and this woman having sex. FYI to the people who don't know, whenever you having dreams of you and somebody having sex that you ain't been thinking about, and it just gets sprung on you all of a sudden, they in your energy, baby. They putting witchcraft on you. They doing some type of spell work. They are in your energy. I was not thinking about this woman. I wasn't attracted to her or none of that. And then just all of a sudden, I'm having dreams about me and her having sex. Oh, yeah. I speak to doggone, another family member that went to the church, and they just flat out told me that I was crazy. I didn't know what I was talking about, that, all them books I had been reading about witchcraft and everything that I had been through had essentially clouded my judgment. And I'm listening to them tell me this, and I'm like, bro, y'all are not going to do this to me. Make me seem like I'm crazy. This woman just conjured up my dead mama. I know plenty of people who practice conjure and do this and do that. If that's your thing, man, go ahead. But you can't be in a church preaching against witchcraft and practicing witchcraft. And I know that this particular woman had a history in hoodoo because her husband told me she did. And then when my little brother confronted them about it, he denied that she ever had a history in hoodoo, and she denied that me and her ever had that conversation. And I was just like, wow. And I'll tell you, dog, I haven't been to church ever since. I ain't been to no church. Am I punishing God for what they did to me? No, but bro, a lot of these pastors, they not what y'all think they are. A lot of these people are Freemasons. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these Christian pastors, dog, they are Freemasons. They are freaking warlocks and witches, man. It wasn't so much of what she did that bothered me. It's the fact that my family didn't believe me when I told them. Everybody in my family knows I am a lot of things, but baby, I am not a liar. Truth be told, dog, I always knew that there was something up with that church, man. I always knew. And that just kind of sealed the deal for me. Again, if you're going to practice hoodoo, voodoo, conjure, whatever, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's knocking you, but don't be in a church laying hands on folks, preaching against it, and then you practicing it. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Even myself, dog, I don't claim to be anything. I am a man of faith. You know what I'm saying? I'm not locked in with any freaking religion. I am a man of faith. Yeah, I just wanted to come up here and tell that story, dog, because I know a lot of people are going through what I went through, and they probably feel like they're crazy. Whether your family's shunning you for exposing the truth or whatever it is, dog, I feel you. I understand. You're not crazy. You saw what you saw. You heard what you heard. There's a lot of dirt that goes on in the black churches. Children being essayed, people stealing from each other, all types of stuff, man. But it gets swept under the rug because it'll make the church look bad. Protect your children in the churches and protect yourselves. The churches ain't the same no more, man. They not about God. They are about money. Church is a business. Religion is a business. If you want to get close to God, go internal. He may not be in that church. And if he is, you still got to leave that church at some point and find him for yourself. Go internal.
Hey, so there you have it. We just wanted to give you an overview that witchcraft is going on in the church. Witchcraft is going on in the music industry. Witchcraft is going on in the medical industry. Witchcraft is going on TV. Everything pretty much is witchcraft when you get down to it. So if you say you're a Christian and you pleading the blood of Jesus, that's a form of witchcraft as well. Some people might say, oh, no, it's not, because they've been traumatized by the Spanish Inquisition. So what Moses was doing was witchcraft, except he was working for God, right? And then what Pharaoh's guys were doing was witchcraft as well. And like I say, we got stuff that connect with this in the links in the descriptions, right? We got the Origin of the Witches, and we got a whole playlist called The School Go to Hogwarts, where it breaks down different alchemical things and shadow work, mirror work, and all of that, man. So we getting into it. And stay tuned. We got some more hot stuff coming, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, man, this is Young Elder TV. We the hottest in the game. You don't want to miss what we got going on. We dropping something every day for you. And like I say, this is a new way we're doing the classes in the corporation with the AI and with combination with other people's as witnesses. We bringing all the receipts on Young Elder TV now, man. That's how we get down. That's how we doing it. So hit that like we said, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And stay tuned for part 2 to this, which would be how to cast spells, and then how to reverse spells would be part 3. Okay, So hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Peace, family. Wadu.
Never have it been made so clear.